would be the role of a manager or a leader? What would be their primary goal?
Well, the primary goal would then be to empower these people. The people that work for an organization need to work at their highest level, so a good leader wants to tap into their potential. But if the leader is blaming or being critical or making someone doubt themselves, they're really like shooting themselves in the foot, because it's like, or shooting the gas tank and saying, why aren't we getting better mileage? Because the human resources, that is the most important resource in an organization.
But isn't ego needed to be a leader?
You know, a lot of people say that it takes a big ego to run a company, and actually it's just the opposite. The ego is really just an image somebody has of themselves that they're trying to project, and they often believe that they're supposed to be superior or more powerful than someone else. But in reality, I call that artificial leadership. It's not coming from authentic power, and unfortunately we're seeing a lot of ego type leaders in the workplace.
Well, I think in your book you referred to, what was the term you used for it?
Imposter.
Imposters, yes. Now how would those type of leaders be?
Well, that's what happens when an ego is in a leadership role. They believe it's about how they look rather than their real goal, which should be to help the people they lead work at their highest level, to be creative, to use their full potential, to create a trusting environment and help bring out the authenticity in everyone, so everyone can do an excellent job. What we see in the ego imposter role, you may have seen. I'll give you some examples. There is the micromanager, the intimidator, the blamer, there's even the righteous leader that wants to work harder than anyone else. And the problem with each of these roles is the person is covering their own fear that they perhaps shouldn't be in the role they are in. And what do you think that does to an organization?
Oh, it's got to be devastating. It's got to be very dysfunctional, actually.
Exactly, and it costs the company a lot of money, not only in terms of potential, but the bottom line. This actually affects the bottom line, because if people aren't working at that level that they could be, the energy and the creativity and the productivity is going to be down.
Well, how do you feel about the leaders and the managers of today?
Well, too often, as I just was talking about, it's that kind of leadership. But if you think about throughout the test of time, leaders that we all really admire, I say they operate from authentic power. They operate from strength of character, but gentleness of heart. They have respect and trust for those they lead. They know that if they have a common goal, they can enlist everybody's help and contribution to create a better workplace.
Well, what do you think about the costs of ego-driven leaders? I mean, what does that cost a company or a government or anything that happens to be out there, a family, friendships?
Exactly, and that's another question I ask my audiences. How do you feel and how well do you work at that level? If everybody is working at half their potential, that's going to affect the profitability of the company. And it's not just a situation of let's be nice to our employees. It's actually respecting and empowering each employee, knowing that they do contribute to the bottom line. And in fact, Chris, it's often the people on the front lines that know what's going on in the organization and can help the organization grow. But if they're not respected or listened to or asked their input, the company is not benefiting from all the great potential they have.
So would that be like enlightened leadership? Is that something we'd be looking for?
Enlightened leadership is the key to everything, because whatever the leadership is at the top, that permeates down through the organization. So if we have a leader who I call the deceptive ego-driven leader, which by the way, we've seen so many of these kinds of leaders. We've seen them being exposed, some being arrested. These kind of leaders make decisions that benefit them rather than create an environment where everyone benefits. And so the greed that permeates these ego-driven leaders permeates or filtrates all the way through the organization. So if I'm under pressure from my boss, what do? I turn around and put more pressure on my employees or my direct reports. And ultimately you have everybody working harder, faster, but gaining less. Now an enlightened leader has these kind of qualities. They operate from humility. rather than the cockiness or arrogance we so often see in leaders. They have another quality that you only see in the really great leaders, and it's a self-reflection, ability. It is an ability to look at themselves, to see their own weaknesses, be willing to be wrong, be willing to not have all the answers, to listen rather than do all the speaking. And finally, really great leaders have a vision. An authentic leader has a vision, but it benefits everyone, not just those at the top.
For more information, or you want to contact Danna Beal and pick up her CD and other reading products, you can reach her at www.dannabeal.com. That's www.dannabeal.com.